Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to configure a DNS server. In our last tutorial, what we did, we configured a DHCP server for network 1. I believe all of you have configured one DHCP server for network 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, I have configured one DHCP server for network 2, one DHCP server for network 3, and one DHCP server for network 4. Now we will add a DNS server to network 1. Not only network 1 will share the services of that DNS server, but also network 2, 3, and 4 will share the same DNS server. Now before we configure a DNS server, I would like to give you a definition of a server. The DNS, also known as the domain name system, is the phone book of the internet. When users type domain names such as google.com or facebook.com into web browsers, DNS is responsible for finding the correct IP address for those sites. Browsers use those addresses to communicate with original servers to access website information. Now, today I will show you step by step how to configure a DNS server. After that, we will update all the devices on these 4 networks. We will update these devices with the new IP address, with the IP address of DNS server. Let's do it. First, we will drag and drop a server here. We will name this server, let's say, this one is our DNS server. We will also write the IP address of DNS server. Let's assume the IP address is 192.168.1.5. That's the IP address of the DNS server. Now, we will connect this server to the switch using a copper straight through cable. So the copper straight through cable, which is the third connection from the left, just click on that and then click on the server and click on the switch. Now, first step is we will assign this IP address to DNS server. Let's click on DNS server and then go to desktop, go to IP configuration and type the IP which is 192.168.1.5. Click here and the subnet mask will come up, and then type default gateway which is 192.168.1.1. Now we will copy and paste the DNS server IP address here. So 192.168.1.5. Then click on services and you will see the DNS service here. Click on DNS service and you will see the service is off at the moment, powered off. We will power it on and we will leave it as it is. We will use these resource records when we are going to configure a HTTP server. So we will just leave it for now. Let's just close the window and let's just update all other devices on these 4 networks. Starting with DHCP server, click on DHCP server first of network 1, DHCP server of network 1. Click on DHCP services. As you can see, the DNS server field is empty. just type the IP address of this DNS server, which is 192.168.1.5. Then we can close the window, but before we close the window, just click on Save, and then you will see the record has been updated. It says here the DNS server is 192.168.1.5. The same way, we need to configure all other devices here. So let's just click on PC0, click on IP configuration, and update the DNS server IP address here. We can close this window. Same way, click on PC1, click on IP configuration, and update the DNS server address here. For these two users, because these two users have received their IP address from DHCP server, so you don't need to do much work here. All you need to do is just refresh the connection. And then you will see that DHCP server will give this user the IP address of DNS server. All other details are same. IP address 192.168.1.10. Subnet mask is okay. Default gateway 192.168.1.1 and DNS server 192.168.1.5. The same way, if you click on PC8, go to IP configuration and just refresh the connection, requesting IP address, DHCP request successful. As you can see, DHCP has provided everything just like before. An addition is the IP address of DNS server, which is 192.168.1.5. Now, I didn't show you how to configure DHCP servers for network 2, 3, and 4. I believe you could do that at home. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to update the devices here on network 2, 3, and 4. Let's just click on DHCP server 2. And then we will go to the DHCP service. We will update the DNS server here. Save. Same way here, click on IP configuration, update the DNS server, and this device as well. Click on IP configuration, update the DNS server. Same way, update DNS server on all the devices. For this one, update this one, save it, close it, click here, click IP configuration, update the DNS server. This one, click IP configuration, update the DNS server. Also, this DHCP server, go to DHCP, update the DNS server IP address, click on Save. PC6, update the DNS server. PC7, update the DNS server. Now let's check whether this one works or not. We will add one new user to network 2. And then we will request DHCP server to assign an IP address to this new user. Then we will check whether DHCP server provides the IP address of DNS server or not. Click on PC10, go to desktop, click on IP configuration. Now request DHCP server for an IP address. We will just wait for DHCP server. It says DHCP fail. This happens. All you need to do, close the window, go back to DHCP server, click on DHCP server, check everything is okay with DHCP server. Everything looks okay to me. Close this. Again, click on PC10, click on IP configuration, request DHCP server to assign an IP address. DHCP request successful. Starting IP address 192.168.2.10. Subnet mask is as it is. Default gateway 192.168.2.1, this one, and the DNS server is 192.168.1.5. This is how we can configure DNS server on Cisco Packet Tracer.